So let's go ahead and jump directly into the game. And we'll go ahead and kind of set the scene. And I'm going to need some help with that. I will go ahead really fast and show folks at home where we are on the map. Here's our map of the Sword Coast with all of our various landmarks. Casa de Hyacinth or Chateau Hyacinth, either way works.
Chateau, I like Chateau.
Chateau Hyacinth it is right here, maybe 40, 50 miles northwest of Silvery Moon, in between Silvery Moon and the Evermoors. Hyacinth home looks something like this.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And here, our party of heroic, mostly noble adventurers are resting after a very, very draining few minutes. Immediately prior? Are we doing this right after? Has it been a couple of hours? How are we doing this?
I think, because where we left off, exactly where we hit pause. Resurrected Clarion, people were talking to him.
Yeah.
Calder stormed off first out of the crypt. And I think everybody else...
Laura's being a bitch.
Yeah, there was a bit of an argument, a bit of tension there, maybe some assumptions made. Calder took off rather than being angry and staying. And then I think everybody else was going to get Clarion topside to, like, get him to a room so he can sit down and, like, you know, breathe in a place that's not catacombs.
Absolutely. And probably rest. He's been through quite an ordeal. Meepo does not leave Clarion's side from the moment he drew his first breath. And in fact, I believe, I already cleared this with Jen, he is not out of physical contact with Clarion for as long as Clarion will allow. So wherever Clarion goes to rest up, Meepo goes with him.
Baby.
Yeah, and I think the rest of the people are going to, like, you know, or all walk out of the catacombs and then maybe start splitting off. I know the main group of Clarion, Meepo, Hyacinth, Lore, and Echo, at the very least, are going to, like, make sure Clarion gets to, like, a fainting couch or something and, like, start tending to him, seeing if he has any wounds, that sort of thing, right?
It's evening, yeah?
No, we got there in the morning.
You got there in the morning.
The ritual takes maybe an hour.
So the house staff has prepared breakfast while you were doing your ritual. And thanks to Angry Potato here, they bring you primarily potatoes for breakfast.
Yes.
Made probably several different ways.
We got those potatoes au gratin.
Hyacinth knows
in.
There was a particularly amazing but way too big potato harvest recently, so you're trying to get rid of the potatoes. And besides, potatoes are delicious.
There's eggs. You got some good hash brown stuff.
Roll the Bubba from Forrest Gump monologue.
So did we want to do kind of the loose breakfast conversation with the people that are there first?
Sure. We will say that Meepo and Clarion and I believe Lore are sequestered away for the time being. So Hyacinth and Charlotte and Calder and Barnabas and Echo will be able to meet at the dinner table. Now, do you want to have both characters in the same scene, or is that?
I was gonna say, point of order, when everybody, like, is into, like, the brunch nook or wherever this is happening. Charlotte's gonna peel off. She's gonna, like, tap something on Laura's shoulder and she's gonna peel off towards the front of the house, and we'll get back to what she's doing later.
Sounds good. With that in mind, where do we start? Breakfast is served. There's a nice large table to sit around.
Echo is going to, once they get out of the catacombs, put the Staff of Resurrection back in the bag of holding.
The Staff of Resurrection is nowhere to be found.
He was carrying it the whole time out of the catacombs.
Oh, fair. Oh, right. I'm sorry. We're a few minutes out. I am getting my timing wrong. I'm editing that out of the VOD.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, so Echo carried the staff up out of the catacombs. As soon as they were out and clear, he puts it back into the bag of holding and puts that in his bag and puts that on his back. So yeah, sitting down to breakfast, Echo looks even worse than when they showed up in the morning. Very road weary, but he's eagerly digging into some potatoes.
Barnabas sits down and he begins to eat. He's very sort of his usual dour and quiet. He seems very deep in introspection after his conversation with Clarion, and the subsequent revival. He has not really said anything since then. What's Calder up to?
Calder is probably still outside. He will probably at this point have reached into his bag of tricks to summon something.
Give me a D12.
A 1.
A 1. A 1 on this particular table is a weasel.
Okay, perfect.
So a little brown fuzzy weasel comes out, begins sniffing around.
Yeah, Calder will, as a means of calming himself, will just essentially be playing like some stupid small game like fetch with it. Like just sitting in sitting either offside the road or in the garden, just throwing a small something and having it being returned and just repeat.
No problem.
Something entirely wholesome.
Hyacinth, how's the host feeling? What's he up to?
Like the vibe is there, right? Like everything's doing fine. Like there's the stress of, the secondary boyfriend is back. Bit weird, but we're working on it. Normally in Hyacinth's family, once you're dead, they don't resurrect you again. So like just like respect, but also it's a title. The title's passed, moving on. But at this point, like Lore would probably leave at some point, and it's just mostly attempting to make small talk. Because Hyacinth is perceptive enough to pick up on how people are dealing.
So what kind of small talk does Hyacinth start with?
This is like the most awkward shit. This is like, so that was an interesting situation that happened there.
Echo nods.
Didn't expect it.
That was the first resurrection I've ever done. Have you ever seen any others?
No, I haven't seen any others. Like the zombies exist, but nothing.
That kind of magic is rarely used.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we, like we're just people to an extent. It's not like we're like elements to throwing things around.
Yeah, I couldn't have done that without the staff, which we also know have to. Oh boy, he just kind of like holds his head in his hands. We have to figure out a way to get that staff back to Waterdeep at some point soon.
Quick question, Gail, would it be appropriate for you to freshly describe your character at this point?
Sure, yeah. Echo's a little green goblin. He's kind of looks sickly at the moment. He's a paler green than he usually is. He's got deep bags under his eyes. And especially like since he came out of the catacomb, during the ritual he had like radiant light pouring out of his eyes and like shining off of the staff when he was using it. And in the kind of whatever soft lighting is in this brunch nook, he's got what looks like burns around his eyes, and like his lips are chapped too from where the light kind of was pouring out of his mouth during it. So he looks a little fucked up.
Nasty.
Yeah. I was just like, I mean, we can like take it. He looks over at Barnabas. We can take like a day here, right? We don't have to go right back out on the road, right?
You're welcome to stay.
Thank you.
We have the time. Things
Yeah.
are static up north
need-
right now.
Right, but we need to get to Mirabar as soon as we can, and that's in the opposite direction of Waterdeep. Oh God, we have to get the staff back to. How the fuck are we supposed to get? I don't know where the hideout is. Oh, Kreetha knows where the hideout is. Okay, so we need to meet up with Kreetha again. Hand off the staff. Some point back in Waterdeep. Like Echo's just kind of rambling to himself at this point about all of the shit they need to get done.
Barnabas
Casually mentions the Xanathar at some point.
Barnabas will interrupt with, Echo, eat.
Right. Just start shoveling potatoes in his mouth.
So, Echo,
Mhm.
I heard the results of the matches, but nobody I talked to had seen it directly. I'd love to know how you and Calder did.
Oh, in the Xanathar's fighting pit? So and like Echo doesn't pay attention, but like I'm curious what Hyacinth's reaction is when Echo just starts talking about, okay, so the first time we were fighting this like giant twig blight, the twig blight's little tiny, but this thing was like huge. It was like 10 feet tall. Calder like lit it the fuck up. One of them stabbed me really. I think like my liver is still scarred from that. But we won the first match, and then the second one was versus these two, other pit fighters that were kind of crowd favorites, but Calder just mobbed them with like all of his different animals and like the shadow dog he can summon now. And then I like stunned the fuck out of the big guy. And then the last guy we fought was a little weird. He was like a wizard sorcerer type. He was wearing these red robes. He summoned this weird like sand elemental out of the floor of the pit. But like Calder stabbed him through the heart. It wasn't that hard to actually kill the guy. But then a bunch of demons started raining down, and the Xanathar got involved and started just like wiping them out and a few other people in the stands. It was fucking crazy.
I'm glad I retired.
But yeah, and then the Xanathar was like, "You have earned a boon," and that's where the staff came. The staff is his. The staff is the Xanathar's. Theirs is it's.
It's just a borrow then.
Yeah. He said we could have it to resurrect our friend, but then it needed to go back. So that's on the to-do list.
I'm assuming it's not like a can send by messenger type of thing.
I wouldn't trust that.
Barnabas like kind of has to choke down his bite of potatoes. No. Cannot be trusted to a messenger.
No, this was like the Xanathar themselves, like they don't have hands, but handed it to us. Like this is a very like, gotta make sure it gets back.
Ew, can I roll? Actually, can I roll? Because I feel like Hyacinth might not know who or what the Xanathar is.
Sure. That would be, I think, a history check.
I was gonna say, Hyacinth doesn't have any ties to Waterdeep.
Hyacinth has no ties to Waterdeep. Should I take this with disadvantage?
No. Because of your noble heritage, I would assume that you do at least some studying about the major forces in Waterdeep.
I want this to be a 1.
Unfortunately, you got the opposite of what you wanted. So yes, you are aware that the Xanathar was the name of a crime syndicate in Waterdeep, and that the leader was also called the Xanathar. You did not know the nature of what kind of being the Xanathar was. You probably assumed that it was either a human or a drow or something.
Still don't know what it is, actually. Just know that it doesn't have hands.
Well, now you know that, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that so throughout the course of this explanation, Hyacinth has like paled got confused, went like, okay, sure, buddy. And is at this point just like just a little bit ticked off because Hyacinth, despite being a rogue, does not enjoy illicit activities because Hyacinth is lawful good.
Barnabas is clearly trying to mask his expression, but he did not hear what he expected to hear. He definitely heard more than he expected to hear. He did not do particularly well on his deception.
Yeah. Hyacinth is just like that's. And you did this on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, there were a few different options we had. We could have tried to like infiltrate a part of his guild to go like swap a goldfish, but like that would have involved being on our own in his lair for a very long time. But there was another option to just, not even try to haggle with the goldfish people, but just try to sneak in in our own with people that Durnan knew who were trying to like infiltrate the guild, and like that was another thing. But the fighting
What
tournament,
Deuce Bigelow shit is that?
huh?
I said, what sort of Deuce Bigelow shit is that?
There's different factions fighting for control of different parts of the city. I didn't want to get in the middle of that kind of thing. And like the tournament was known to people of like, if you won 3 fights in a row, you could just ask a favor of the Xanathar. So we kind of figured that was I kind of voted for it as the safer first option.
Okay, but like you joined basically a stable though.
Well, I mean, we were sponsored by somebody else. It was a noble, I think, that Calder knew. Like, we weren't entering as like Xanathar's fighters. We were entering as like a different patron's fighters.
Hyacinth is gonna look over at Calder. A noble that you knew?
Calder's not
Calder
here.
is outside, but Barnabas will look up and he'll say, "I believe the name I was told was Jarlaxle."
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll that one because that one I might actually know.
Absolutely.
Is that something with a drow with a hat?
That is an 11.
With an 11, I'm gonna go ahead and say, the name rings a bell. It sounds very, very much like a drow name, but you don't know much. You don't really know much more than that. You know there are rumors of someone named Jarlaxle who is important somehow. Like it rings a bell, but not really anything specific.
Okay.
Yeah, we left with Xanathar's favor, so honestly, I think everything worked out really well, all things considered. And while we were in the fighting pits, Kretha was sneaking around the lair, getting the lay of the place, in case we needed to use Plan B anyway. So, like, we now kind of know how to get around Xanathar's lair, so if it ever comes up again.
Kretha?
Kretha.
I know, Laura said some things, but not by much. She's the new replacement for me, right? The rogue.
She's sneaky, all right, but she's more. What I've seen, she's more like a scout type. Like on the road from Waterdeep up to Tribor. We found like these dinosaurs, and she was really about that. She likes animals a lot, is what I've gotten from it. She has the giant frog.
She does have a giant frog. Yes.
The word ranger is explicitly in character in Faerun.
That goes so out of it. He's not even realizing.
I love how you're talking circles around it. I love it.
Yeah, so like she's sneaky, but like she really likes animals and stuff. Yeah.
Fair.
She's
at least
with us here because she's currently hanging out with one of the friends we met along the road, Victoire, who's this really tall, humanish person. Unsure. And she's really cool, got a mechanical dog, and the two of them are off hunting vampires right now, as far as I know.
like between happy at retired and also just like wanting to be in the loop more, write me more letters.
Okay.
Just write me more letters.
Yeah, this is a lot to catch you up
Have
on.
somebody learn the sending spell.
I'm maybe I'll get there at some point. And Echo kind of gets quiet after that. And just kind of eats the
That's
rest
fair.
of what's on his plate.
In the meantime, what happened here is we had a big potato harvest, obviously. The kids growing up fine. There's like a moment where Hyacinth just like kind of pauses with like their hand like below the table, like kind of demurely. This is like the most feminine action that Hyacinth has made up until now. It's good that the child will have, you know, all of its parents.
Yeah.
So thank you.